human resource planning, all organizations must inevitably plan for human resources. They must know who are the right people, what is the position, what is the place at which people would be needed. If they don't do this, they will end up hiring people with poor qualifications or inadequate skills. Basic purpose of a human resource plan is to have an accurate estimate of the number of employees required with the matching skill requirements to meet the organizational objectives. A very simple definition is given by Dessler. Human resource planning is the process of deciding what positions the firm will have to fill and how to fill them. There is another simple definition given by Mondi and Noe. HRP is the process of systematically reviewing human resource requirements to ensure that the required number of employees with the required skills are available when and where they are needed. So, one of the basic needs of an organization is that if there is a vacancy or if there is going to be a demand for some professionals in the future, then we should be able to get the right people at the right time with the required skills. Let us look at the 5 key questions in human resource planning. Firstly, how many employees are needed in terms of the numbers? 10, 20, 30. Secondly, what are we looking for in terms of skills, knowledge, experience, abilities? That is, what are we looking for in terms of the quality of human resources that we are going to employ in the organization? Thirdly, where do we need them? That is, which division of the company, which department, or which location? Fourthly, when do we need the employees? Do we need them immediately? Do we need them after 3 months, 6 months, after 1 year? And lastly, how long do we need them? That is, do we need them for a limited period or for a long period? All these are questions which must be answered, which must be kept in mind for any plan on human resources. These human resource planning is forward looking, it is proactive, and the focus of the plan is always on getting the right number of qualified people into the organization at the right time. Let us look at the objectives of HRP. That is, why do we need human resource planning? We needed to forecast personnel requirements. That is, HR planning is essential to determine the future manpower needs in the organization. In the absence of such a plan, it would be difficult to have the services of right kind of people at the right time. You need people, let us say at Diwali time, you need more people to work because there is a greater demand. For that, you will be hiring people in advance because you can foresee that increase in demand during Diwali time. Then HRP is needed to cope up with changes in the market conditions, technology, products, and government regulations in an effective way. These changes may often require services of people with the requisite technical knowledge and training. And you, by keeping an inventory of the existing people in the enterprise in terms of skill, training, education, qualification, work experience, it becomes very much possible to utilize the existing resources more usefully in relation to the job requirements. Process of human resource planning. The process of human resource planning involves these following steps in any large organization. First is demand forecasting, that is, demand for talent, demand for people having the requisite qualification and skills and experience. This gets influenced by three factors. First is the external factors: economic, political, legal, social, technical factors. They play a major role in forecasting the demand for talent. If anything is happening in the economy, like liberalization, opening up of banking sector, capital market reforms, online trading systems, etc., all this has happened in the past, and which created a huge demand for finance professionals during the liberalization period in India in 1995. If political changes happen, a government is changed, and the government is more reform oriented, then demand for a certain type of skilled people goes up. So these are all the external factors we can look at. Then there are organizational factors: the organization's strategic plan, sales and promotion forecasts, and if the organization is looking at new ventures, definitely these must be taken into account in employment planning. Okay, so if the organization is wanting to venture into newer fields, definitely you will need people with the requisite skills in those areas. So you want to open up a new branch, you want to open up an office in another location, then definitely not only the physical unit of the office, but also you will need people to man those. And then you will need to know whether I need an accountant, whether I need a person with computer skills, whether I need an engineer. All that planning will have to be done. Then there are workforce factors. Demand for talent is going to be impacted by several other workforce related factors. In this, we include factors such as retirement, termination, resignation, death, and unauthorized absence. Okay, so things like retirement, termination, these are a lot more predictable. And definitely, when people leave the organization due to any of these things, there is a vacancy which must be filled, and which, if a certain level of business activity is to be maintained. Now, let us look at the demand forecasting techniques. A number of techniques are employed for forecasting demand in the modern organization. First is judgmental methods. Okay, the simplest is bottoms up forecasting method. So, in this, guidance is taken from the unit or branch or division to prepare an estimate, and every branch would be giving the estimate of the people that they would need. That is how it is done. Second is top down forecasting. The exercise would commence with the top managers. They often meet to discuss how the trends, business plans, and economy, etc., would be impacting their own organization. And they would look at the worst and the best scenario both, and they would arrive at an estimate of uh, how many people they would need in the organization. A technique which is often used is called Delphi technique. for forecasting, which is based on a census of a panel of experts who do not meet face to face as such, but they would exchange notes through questionnaires, etc., and they would reach some sort of a consensus. So, quantitative and qualitative aspects of human resource planning. Ideally, both should be included in a good human resource plan. Qualitative aspects refer to knowledge, skills, and experience which are required from a person who is applying for a job, and the quantitative aspect would refer to the specific number of people who are required for the job vacancies. Both the approaches complement each other. Both the things have to be kept in mind. HR professionals will generally carry out a workforce and workload analysis in order to estimate the demand for manpower. And once they have estimated the demand for manpower, then they will do the job analysis, which will give them an idea about the skills which are required in relation to a job. Let's look at workforce analysis, what it involves. It means the quantity of people, that is, the number of people that an organization requires. This will depend upon a number of factors, and job analysis would help to determine the skill requirements of that particular job. So, first of all, we'll have to take a close look at the available manpower within the organization. Okay. Um, so maybe there are some people who are out on leave. There is some voluntary retirement scheme, or some people are retiring or getting transferred, etc. Uh, During the last 5 years, all this data can be taken into account. We can also look at the rate of absenteeism. All this will give an idea about the number of people who are available in the organization, who can be used and who can be put to do some job. When we look at the workload analysis, then in that case company tries to calculate the number of persons required for various jobs with reference to a planned output, and after giving some weightage to factors such as absenteeism, etc. So what are we doing in this? Let us say that you have a planned, a very broad example I'm taking. Let's say you have planned an output of 10,000 pieces in the next year, and the standard time or the standard hours it takes per piece is 3. So actually you will need 30,000 man hours. And let's say that the productive hours per person is 1000 hours. That is, like, one person would be productively doing 1000 hours in an year. So that means that by using simple mathematics you come to the number 30. That is, the number of workers required would be 30. On top of it, you can look at how many officers would be required if the number of workers required is 30. So, this is what the workload analysis is. So, on the demand side, we will do both these analysis, and we will have a fair idea of the number of people and the quality of people, those that are required. The next step is forecasting the supply of human resources. So, the organization would look at both the internal as well as the external sources. Now, internal labor supply analysis has to be done first. So first we have to look at, if enough experienced people with the required skills are available within the organization, who could be put to good use if the vacancies are to be filled up. Okay. So the HR manager will keep an eye on factors such as attrition levels, absenteeism, retirement, death, etc. External labor supply analysis: when the organization grows rapidly and it is diversifying into new areas, then they may not be able to find enough number of people internally to fill all the vacancies. It has to look into outside sources, and you have to go on to the job market and see how you can get people from there. So once we have done the demand and the supply analysis, then we can look at formulating the HR plans.